Hello and welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and as you can see, we're sitting in the library in front of our display case today, which is filled with carolers. So come on in and see Kathy Rebaugh's collection of carolers. So we thought it would be fun to do books that have a musical element in them. So books that have musicians or books with songs in them, song titles. So take it away to Jill.
This is one of my favorite ones. I love musicians, I guess. So my first book for today is A Long Way Down by Nick Hornby. This book is fun because it introduces a musician and it involves a New Year's holiday, which is coming up for us. Meet Martin, JJ, Jess, and Maureen, 4 people who come together on New Year's Eve. A former talk show host, a musician, a teenage girl, and a mother. 3 are British, 1 is American. They encounter one another on the roof of Topper's house, a London destination famous for the last stop for those ready to end their lives. In 4 distinct and riveting first-person voices, Nick Hornby tells the story of 4 individuals confronting the limits of choice, circumstance, and their own mortality. This is a tale of connections made and missed, punishing regrets, and the grace of second chances. Intense, hilarious, provocative, and moving, A Long Way Down is a novel about suicide that is surprisingly full of life.
That's a good pick, Jill. My first pick is Our Homesick Songs by Emma Hooper, published in 2018. The Connor family is one of the few that is still left in their idyllic fishing village, Big Running, after the fish have all mysteriously disappeared. Most families had no choice but to relocate and find work elsewhere. Aidan and Martha Connor now spend alternate months of the year working at an energy site up north to support their 2 children, Cora and Finn. But soon the family fears they'll have to leave Big Running for good. And as the months go on, plagued by romantic temptations to new and old, the emotional distance between the once blissful Aidan and Martha only widens. Between his accordion lessons and reading up on Big Running's local flora and fauna, 11-year-old Finn Connor develops an obsession with solving the mystery of what's happening to these missing fish. Aided by his reclusive music instructor, Mrs. Callahan, Finn thinks he may have discovered a way to find the fish and in turn save the only home he's ever known. In Our Homesick Song, Emma Hooper paints a gorgeous portrait of the Connor family, brilliantly weaving together the 4 different stories and two generations of Connors full of wonder and hope. Told in her signature style, each page of this incandescent, as it was described, novel glows with mythical, musical wonder. So the accordion-playing 11-year-old and his music teacher are going to work together and solve this mystery.
Neat. My next one you might relate to because it involves a pandemic.
Oh boy.
It's called Station 11 by Emily St. John Mendel. It is set in the days of civilization's collapse. Station 11 tells the story of a Hollywood star, his would-be savior, and a nomadic group of actors roaming scattered outposts of the Great Lakes region, risking everything for art and humanity. One snowy night, a famous Hollywood actor slumps over and dies on stage during a production of King Lear. Hours later, the world as we know it begins to dissolve. Moving back and forth in time from the actor's early days as a film star to 15 years in the future, when a theater troupe known as the Traveling Symphony roams the wasteland of what remains. Kristen is an actress with the Traveling Symphony. This small troupe moves between settlements in an altered world, performing Shakespeare and music for scattered communities of survivors. Spanning decades, moving back and forth in time, and vividly depicting the life before and after the pandemic, this suspenseful, spellbinding novel charts the strange twists of fate that connect 5 people: the actor who died on stage, the man who tried to save him, the actor's first wife, his oldest friend, and Kristen, the young actress with the Traveling Symphony. Caught in the crosshairs of a dangerous, self-proclaimed prophet. So there's a prophet in it too. All kinds of stuff.
My second pick is the song Reader by Lisa Tucker, which was published back in 2005. The book takes place in 1981, the summer of endless love, and Leanne Norris is 11 years old. That's when her sister, the very capable, nearly 6-foot-tall waitress Mary Beth, starts her business as a song reader, deciphering hidden messages of love and desire that people harbor in their musical memory. I have a calling in life, she tells Leanne, who helps her analyze song charts and usher in her devoted customers to their small apartment on Saturdays. Leanne lives with her beautiful older sister, and she is truly the world's first and only song reader. Everyone in their small town thinks Mary Beth is special, and Leanne does too. Mary Beth helps people figure out how they really feel by using the songs that they just can't get out of their minds. And her advice is always right. But when Mary Beth makes a terrible mistake and half the town, including the family of the one boy Leanne cares about, turns against Mary Beth, Leanne will have to rethink everything she knows about her own family. She will have to be the stronger sister for a change, but she will also have a chance to discover that even an ordinary girl like herself can sometimes figure out what the music really means. It's an emotionally pale family romance. Mary Beth's song reading may well prove its compelling hook in this book. I've never heard of somebody who wanted to be a song reader, so this one kind of intrigued me.
My next pick, I feel like it made a big splash back when it was published in 2010. Jennifer Egan's A Visit from the Goon Squad. This is Jennifer Egan's spellbinding interlocking narrative circle the lives of Benny Salazar, an aging former punk rocker and record executive, and Sasha, the passionate, troubled young woman he employs. Although Benny and Sasha never discover each other's pasts, the reader does. In intimate detail, along with the secret lives of a host of other characters whose pasts intersect with theirs, over many years, in locales as varied as New York, San Francisco, Naples, and Africa. We first meet Sasha in her mid-30s on her therapist's couch in New York City, confronting her long-standing compulsion to steal. Later, we learn the genesis of her turmoil when we see her as a child of a violent marriage, then as a runaway living in Naples, then as a college student trying to avert the suicidal impulses of her best friend. We plunge into the hidden yearnings and disappointments of her uncle, an art historian stuck in a dead marriage, who travels to Naples to extract Sasha from the city's demimonde and experiences an epiphany of his own while staring at a sculpture of Orpheus and Eurydice in the Museo Nacional. We meet Benny Salazar as at the melancholy nadir of his adult life, divorced, struggling to connect with his 9-year-old son, listening to a washed-up band in the basement of a suburban house, and then revisit him in 1979 at the height of his youth, shy and tender, reveling in San Francisco's punk scene as he discovers his ardor for rock and roll and his gift for spotting talent. A Visit from the Goon Squad is a book about interplay of time in music, about survival, about the stirrings and transformations set inexorably in motion by even the most passing conjunction of fate. So,
I don't remember that book. Did you read it?
I did. I really enjoyed it too. The description doesn't do it justice.
My third pick is a follow-up to a book I did a couple weeks ago. This is The Supremes Sing the Happy Heartache Blues by Edward Kelsey Moore, published in 2017. It's a novel of friendship, family, and forgiveness from the best-selling The Supremes at Earl's All You Can Eat, which we talked about a few weeks ago. And it's also perfect for fans of the Little Coffee Shop of Kabul, which I also used a couple weeks ago when we were at the coffee shop. So when a late-life love affair blooms between Mr. Forrest Payne, the owner of the Pink Slipper Gentlemen's Club, and Miss Beatrice Jordan, famous for yelling warnings of eternal damnation at the club's departing patrons, their wedding summons a legend to town. Mr. L. Walker, the great guitar bluesman, comes home to give a command performance in Plainview, Indiana, a place he swore he'd never set foot in again. Among those in this tightly knit community who show up every Sunday after church for lunch at Earl's All You Can Eat are the lifelong friends known locally as the Supremes. Clarice, facing down her chance at and a fear of a great career, Barbara Jean, grappling with the loss of a mother whose life humiliated both of them, and Odette, reaching toward her husband through an anger of his that she just does not understand. The Supremes Sing the Happy Heartache Blues brings together this lively cast of characters in a heartwarming, life-affirming tale of small-town community and female friendship. This book was described by Fannie Flagg, who I'm sure everybody's familiar with her fried green tomatoes, as a joy to read. Besides being laugh-out-loud hilarious, Edward Kelsey Moore has a profound understanding of human nature. So, The Supremes Sing the Happy Heartache Blues.
That one sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have recommended this book before. I know I have, maybe even more than once. But I will continue to recommend it because it is one of my favorite books that I've read. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of my favorite authors that's coming right now. This is a gripping novel about the whirlwind rise of an iconic 1970s rock group and their beautiful lead singer, revealing the mystery behind their infamous breakup. Everyone knows Daisy Jones and the Six, but nobody knows the real reason why they split up in the absolute height of their popularity. Until now. Daisy is a girl coming of age in LA in the 60s, sneaking into clubs on the Sunset Strip, sleeping with rock stars, and dreaming of singing at the Whiskey Go-Go. The sex and drugs are thrilling, but it's rock and roll she loves most. By the time she's 20, her voice is getting noticed, and she's the kind of heedless beauty that makes people do crazy things. Another band getting noticed is the Six, led by brooding Billy Dunn. In the eve of their first tour, his girlfriend Camilla finds out she's pregnant, and with the pressure of impending fatherhood and fame, Billy goes a little bit wild on the road. Daisy and Billy cross paths when a producer realizes the key to supercharged success is to put the two together. What happens next will become the stuff of legends. This book is told in like a series of interviews, and it made me wonder if this was a real band at one point. It isn't. But it feels that way.
It's on my list to read. I know you love that book. My fourth pick is actually an audiobook I took of this one. This is Where the Crawdads Sing by Owens, published back in 2018. This is how I actually listened to this book, so that's why I chose the audiobook for this one. So for years, rumors of the Marsh Girl haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet fishing village. Kaya Clark is barefoot and wild, unfit for polite society. So in late 1969, when the popular Chase Andrews is found dead, locals immediately suspect her. But she is not what they say. A born naturalist with just one day of school, she takes life lessons from the land, learning the real ways of the world from the dishonest signals of fireflies. But while she has the skills to live in solitude forever, the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. Drawn to two young men from town, who are each intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new and startling world until the unthinkable happens. In Where the Crawdads Sing, this author juxtaposes an exquisite ode to the natural world against a profound coming-of-age story and a haunting mystery. Thought-provoking, wise, and deeply moving, Dahlia Owens' debut novel reminds us that we are forever shaped by the child within us, while also subject to the beautiful and violent secrets that nature keeps. The story asks how isolation influences the behavior of a young woman who, like all of us, has the genetic propensity to belong to a group. The clues to the mystery are brushed into the lush habitat and natural history of all its wild creatures. So I enjoyed listening to this as an audiobook.
That's a really good one. And it's true what they say about the thing to the nature. You feel like you're in that marsh.
Exactly.
It's great. Okay, my next one is How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran. This is a hilarious and deeply moving coming-of-age novel. What do you do in your teenage years when you realize your parents taught you wasn't enough? You must go out and find books and poetry and pop songs and bad heroes and build yourself. It's 1990. Joanna Morgan, 14, has shamed herself so badly on local TV she decides there's no point in being Joanna anymore and reinvents herself as Dolly Wilde. Fast-talking, hard-drinking, gothic hero and full-time lady sex adventurer. She will save her poverty-stricken bohemian family by becoming a writer, like Jo in Little Women, or the Brontes, but without the dying young bit. By 16, she's smoking cigarettes, getting drunk, and working for a music paper. She's writing pornographic letters to rock stars, having all kinds of sex with all kinds of men, and eviscerating bands in reviews of 600 words or less. But what happens when Joanna realizes she's built Dolly with a fatal flaw? It's a box full of records, a wall full of posters, and a head full of paperbacks, enough to build a girl after all? Imagine the Bell Jar is written by Rizzo from Greece. How to Build a Girl is a funny, poignant, heartbreaking, evocative story of self-discovery and invention, as only Kate and Moran can tell it. And there's a follow-up book to this one, if you like it. It has the same character in it, this invented Dolly, How to Be Famous. So, if you like it, there's another one to read.
My last pick for today is a popular author, Jody Peacock. This one is Sing You Home, which she published back in 2011. Zoe Baxter has spent 10 years trying to get pregnant, and after multiple miscarriages and infertility issues, it looks like her dream is about to come true. She's 7 months pregnant. But a terrible turn of events leads to a nightmare, one that takes away the baby she has already fallen for and breaks apart her marriage to Max. In the aftermath, she throws herself into a career as a music therapist, using music clinically to soothe burn victims in a hospital, to help Alzheimer's patients connect with the present, and to provide solace for hospice patients. When Vanessa, a guidance counselor, asks her to work with a suicidal teen, their relationship moves from business to friendship, and then, to Zoe's surprise, blossoms into love. When Zoe allows herself to start thinking about having a family again, she remembers that she has frozen embryos that were never used by herself and Max. Meanwhile, Max has found peace at the bottom of a bottle until he is redeemed by an evangelical church. He has found a new life, one with no place in it for people like Zoe, and he will stand up in court to say that her new choice of partner will make her an unfit mother. This powerful novel asks, who has the right to decide what makes the ideal family? So, Jody Peacock.
She always has, like, novels with big questions.
Exactly.
Like that.
Makes you think.
So we hope that you got some good ideas of what you want to read next if you have a song in your heart.
Come on in, take a look at our display. We also have on the end cap in the adults section a Guess the Christmas Carol, where you can come in and guess 12 Christmas carols. If you get it right, you get entered in for a chance to win a Bluetooth speaker. So come on in and check that out also. Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Until next time,
Bye.